30 seconds.
There's a common misconception among people that don't know what it's like to be in speech. They think we get up there, have this great long manuscript ready, and we preach as if we're some really important person that's giving a speech. I'm not that important, so that's obviously not very true. But what really happens in speech is that we find that we have a topic, and we're passionate about this topic, and we try to get to the point. And that's what James Roosevelt was saying when he said, "My father gave me these hints on speech making. Be sincere, be brief, be seated." We shall further examine this quotation by looking at the wisdom behind his words, by seeing how this quotation has been revealed in my life, and by seeing how this quotation has been revealed in history. As we begin examining this quotation, let us first look at the wisdom behind Mr. Roosevelt's words. "My father gave me these hints on speech making. Be sincere, be brief, be seated." Let's break this down piece by piece. Let's look at the 3 hints. The first one, to be sincere. This means just speak from the heart. Be passionate about what you're believing, and don't just be talking to make yourself look good, or to try to advance yourself in any sort of office. You need to have passion for what you speak about. If you simply go up and talk for 10 minutes, well, no one's really going to believe you in the first place. But when you speak with passion, speak with conviction about something you really care about. Next, like I was saying, you need to be brief. You can be really riled up about something. You can talk as long as you want about something, but people get bored really, really quickly, which thankfully for you people, this event only lasts 7 minutes. And finally, when you're done, be seated. Now obviously, when I'm done with this speech, I will return to my seat, but there's more at work here. This means that once you give a good speech, don't expect to be praised right away. Don't expect to be revered as some great master orator. Instead, simply remember that you are just another person, and you, just like everybody else, will return to their seat and continue with the rest of the evening. And that humility is then found in the ability to do everything that your speech requires. And by just appealing to the common man, then people will listen to you. Now that we see the wisdom behind these words, let us see how this quotation has been revealed in my life. My father is a great man, but he works in the North Dakota Army National Guard, and he's been deployed twice now. 3 years ago, he was in Kosovo, and currently he is serving in Naval Station Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. When my father left for Kosovo the first time, he really didn't know what to do. I mean, he's a great man. He knows how to be a good father and to be a good worker, but this was completely out of his league. He was going to be leaving his family for a year. So he kind of asked me for advice, if you will. I don't know if he was actually trying to go off on a great speech here to try to move me in any way, but he simply came and asked me, "Well, son, what do you think about me leaving?" And I said, "Well, Dad, it's your job. What can I expect?" "Okay." That's all he said. That short little dialogue was all that I needed to be sure that my father was doing the right thing, and that I'd always be able to have his influence on me wherever I went. He wasn't trying to make me feel, "Okay, son, it's going to be great. I'm going to be gone, but this, and talk for 10 minutes after that." In just a few seconds, I was able to understand that everything he was doing was with purpose, because I knew he truly did care about me. He was sincere in his conviction that he wanted me to be able to do well when he was gone. And then because he was brief, because he appealed to a teenager in the way that we know best, to just getting to the point, I was able to understand what he wanted of me. And then, just like he always did, he just went and sat back down. The father that I always knew, and the man that I knew would be able to guide me even when he was gone. Now that we see how this quotation has been revealed in my life, let us see how this quotation has been revealed in history. A great example of this is found in Abraham Lincoln, in his speech after Gettysburg, the Gettysburg Address. Now, what many people don't realize is that Abraham Lincoln, A, did not write his speech on the back of a napkin on the train to Gettysburg, and 2, that he actually wasn't the main speaker. What was the main speaker, but wasn't the longest speaker there. We all know that this Gettysburg Address was very, very short, but the guy before him talked for 2 hours trying to consecrate the ground of Gettysburg. Now, I don't remember who this person was, or what even the purpose of his speech was, but needless to say, people were not really ready for Abraham Lincoln. The first man was, I think he was sincere, or I hope to think he was sincere, and not trying to use one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War for his own gain. But he wasn't very brief. 2 hours in the 1860s, standing in the hot sun, that's not something many people would like to go through. And when he was done, I don't know what he did. He might have went and sat down like a person should. But let's be honest, he had a really big act following him. He probably wanted to have a little bit of a big head so people would remember him, not the president. So what did the president do? He went up there, and he gave the Gettysburg Address. And it was a very short speech. In fact, it was so solemn and so straight to the point, so sincere, that people thought it was just an opening prayer. Then when the president took his seat, and people realized, wow, history just happened before our eyes. Because President Lincoln was sincere in what he thought, trying to consecrate the ground to so many who had fallen, and because he realized that words would not be able to contain the honor and the passion of those who had just died a few months earlier, he realized that the only way to properly honor them was to sit down and finish the war. My father gave me these hints on speech making. Be sincere, be brief, be seated. James Roosevelt. We have examined this quotation by looking at the wisdom behind his words, by seeing how this quotation has been revealed in my life, and by seeing how this quotation has been revealed in history. So the next time you have to give some big presentation, don't worry about making a name for yourself. Go out there, get it done, and when you've said everything you have to say, shut up and sit down.